Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Learning Curve SG podcast, the podcast where we talk about anything and everything, not just about PE, but also about learning as well. Today, I'm very glad to have my guest here, Miss Kalyani. She has just completed her instructional mentoring program, and she's now a full-fledged teacher, very confident in handling her students as well as delivering pedagogy to help our students learn better in her lessons. We want to have a better idea of how she felt mentoring has helped her develop as a professional teacher in delivering better teaching and learning in her classroom. So welcome, Kalyani. So perhaps we dive in directly to how have you actually felt with regards to mentoring, the IMP program. How has it been for you? How has it helped you? Maybe you can share with our audience, please.
Okay, so I think with the IMP program, with having a mentor who is consistently following through with you and journeying through the past 2 years with you, I felt that I could have better conversations with not just my mentor, but having that conversation or that space of conversation gave me the confidence to seek help from other teachers or knowledgeable others who could also share their input and knowledge in areas that aren't just related to teaching, but also guiding students in other areas such as CCA and form teachership also. So I think like being able to have a conversation with colleagues is actually something that many new teachers might feel it's either intimidating or might be hesitant because they are not sure if maybe, for example, they are scared that we might be disturbing the other teacher, or maybe might feel insecure that, or if I ask or if I tell these teachers my problems, then they might perceive me as someone who is not ready or unable to solve problems independently.
I see.
So I mean, those were all some anxieties that I had. So when I had Mr. Ben, who was my IMP mentor, having this person to talk these problems to helped me understand that actually teachers are more than willing to share their knowledge with us. And as beginning teachers, or as teachers, even as a full-fledged teacher now, I still believe that teaching is a learning process as well. So we are constantly learning as a teacher, and for us to become better practitioners, we need to listen to a different perspective or be exposed to different teaching methods and not be afraid to ask questions, and approach everyone around us.
Thank you for your sharing. I think what you have mentioned was that in order for us to be developed well as a teacher, we need we need to be able to learn. And one great way of learning is to actually learn from one another. And in order for us to learn from one another, we need to have conversations. But of course, when you first start out in the school, you do feel that it can be pretty intimidating to ask random teachers who are more experienced for help. And that's why having a mentor who is really very supportive by creating a safe space for you to check in with him as and when necessary to ask him with regards to not just pedagogy but also CCA and FT-ship helps a lot in that learning process because the conversations come more easily for you. And I think if I remember what Ben has shared with me, right, he doesn't just limit the conversations between you and him. He will bring you to the relevant teachers to check in with them on how they can help you as well. I remembered when I first started teaching many years ago, I was not given a mentor. There was nobody to support me at all. So when I first went to the school, not this school, I had to basically either swim or drown. And if not for the fact that there were some colleagues who helped me out, I wouldn't have been able to continue on in this profession anymore. But I was just lucky. There were people who were kind enough to help me. But I'm glad that today in our school we have a systematic structure where experienced mentors, like senior teachers, provide support for new teachers who are just posted to the school. Yeah. But moving on to the next question, perhaps we deep dive a little bit more into the IMP program. Are you able to maybe share with our audience one or two examples, right, on what you have learned specifically from the mentoring process itself? It can be about pedagogy, it can be about classroom management, it can also be about other matters relating to new teachers also. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I think one of the main things I learned from Mr. Ben is to not be afraid to try different strategies. So initially when we first started IMP, it was very lesson focused, and he will ask me to identify area for improvement for every week. So we will focus on a specific class, for example. At that time, all my classes were quite new. I didn't quite understand the student profile yet. And also because I was taking them like mid-semester or mid-term, the rapport building was a little bit of a struggle for me. So when I took over this specific class, I had a little bit of struggle connecting with them and forming a strong bond, because I believe that TSR is quite important. We have to form the connection before we can correct the behavior or like get them to pay attention and get them on board for our lessons. So I felt that at that point I tried a few strategies, but they all seemed to like expire or exhaust after a while. It wasn't really like sustainable. So Ben suggested that I talk to the boys. I asked the boys for suggestions. Like he encouraged me to share the reasoning behind all the different strategies that I have used with them, and ask them what else I can do to support them. So for example, it was an English lesson, English class. So to get their attention, I will do like several strategies. Like I will, they took quite a long time to get ready for lessons. So initially I started off with the timer. So I told them that, okay, so I will time you all to see how fast you all can get ready. The next day, I will tell them, okay, yesterday you took 3 minutes. So today let's aim to take 2 minutes to get ready. But after a while, that strategy didn't really stick with them. Like they didn't really feel the impact of it. So we went on to other strategies, like getting them to like stand and answer questions before they can sit down. So that got them more like willing to get ready for lessons faster and be prepared for the lesson, so that they could answer questions. But also didn't last very long. So once I explained my rationale behind these strategies, and ask them, okay, what else do I need to do to sustain your attention? Then they suggested that, why not you begin the lesson with like some games? Like we like to play games, and this class is particularly very active. Like even during any sports events that we have, they are always the class that will like win all these competitions, like interclass competitions and all that. So I realized, okay, maybe they really need an avenue to like channel their energy before they can center and focus in class. So I tried to include like some quizzes. I tried to include like quiz to see to how I can group them, and then I'll group them so they get their energy off, like by going into groups, by moving into groups first, and then sitting in a specific area, then that change of environment, and then them being able to like sit with their friends, for example, help them be more focused or get ready for lessons faster. So those were some strategies that I used. But of course, I was also very candid and honest to tell them that actually, we still have to meet our lesson objectives. We still have to get ready for the end of year exam. So we might not be able to like have all these fun activities all the time. So I think that conversation really helped me first. I think it showed the boys that my intentions, and also that I am listening to their opinions, and I am taking that into consideration while lesson planning. So after they have seen like first few rounds of me putting this into place, I think the subsequent lessons for that year was more smooth, I would say. And even the interactions with them, I think the gap between me and them like also closed. So they were more forthcoming into asking me for help. because previously I would be like, okay, any questions? And I'll keep like, I felt like I was pushing that onto them. I was like really asking them to come forward and ask me questions, but they weren't willing to do so. So, but after this, the response came from them that they volunteered or they felt the need that, oh, I need help with this, and this teacher is someone I can approach, and then they came forward. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what you have shared is very true to all new beginning teachers when they first go to any school. They find that they have some difficulty with classroom management, and therefore the teaching in the class doesn't go smoothly. And you have rightfully pointed out also, it is because beginning teachers don't quite understand yet the profile of the students, and therefore, okay, it's harder to build rapport with them at that point in time. And because the rapport is not built yet, therefore the teacher-student relationship is not very strong yet as well, which therefore resulted in struggles during lesson. But I think what Ben has suggested and what you have taken up was really good, whereby you actually ask the students for suggestions on what they can do to help them focus more in their learning, and what you can do to help them achieve that. And I think you actually brought teaching and learning up to another level. You know why? Because I think by doing that, you did a very brave move by asking students, okay, to co-create a lesson or a few lessons together. And when the when you do that, when students actually co-create a part of a lesson together with you, the teacher, the ownership of them wanting to actually go through and complete that learning activity becomes much higher. Yeah, and the boys suggested things which really suits their learning needs, because as we mentioned before in our boy-centric education initiative during our staff meetings, right? Boys need movement, they need kinesthetic activities, they need things which are visual for them, and they also need a lot of peer support and conversations as they learn. So what I hear from you is that you started from a low level, but you converse with the students and co-create lessons together, and you increase the motivation of our students to learn. And the strategies that are being used are also very suitable for the boys. Yeah, and I think I can see that you are actually, today I can really see that you're much more confident in the classroom. And then when you teach, sometimes when I walk past your class, the students are just concentrating and doing their work, which is superb. Yeah, way different from when you first started out. Yeah, so really thank you for this in-depth sharing on how the IMP program actually improved your pedagogical skills lah. Yeah, maybe let's move on to teaching beliefs. Can you maybe share with our audience also, what was your philosophy or beliefs in teaching when you first started as a teacher, and has it changed from then till now?
Okay. So I think my philosophy for teaching has always been to make sure that in my classroom is first, I say space for all students, and to make sure that every student is seen and heard. I believe that my teaching philosophy has not changed. It's still, this is what I still hope to achieve. But I also realize that interactions outside of class is more beneficial for students who are not able to do that during the lesson time, because lesson time is quite limited and we might not be able to give the attention to every child. But I think the success of my class or my interaction with them comes when I see them outside of the classroom and I tell them what they have done well, or when they voluntarily come and tell me how their day has been and ask me how my day has been. I think in those moments also, I feel like the quieter students feel heard and seen, and that they have an adult figure in school that they can trust. Yeah.
Thank you, Cal. From what I hear, you want all your students to be seen and heard. And in order for them to be seen and heard, a safe environment needs to be created for them to achieve that. And I feel that what you have shared, right, is that you believe that you want a very developmental environment for our students so that they have the opportunity to grow. Yeah. So like when we are planting, plants, right? We need to set up the soil and the surrounding environment well so that the seed that we plant can germinate and grow into a beautiful plant or a very strong tree. So I think your philosophy is that you want a developmental environment for our students to grow and become better than who they were yesterday. Yeah. And this particular idea links very well to the constructivist as well as social constructivist approach to education, whereby we believe that students build knowledge by connecting the dots, okay, or the information that they have within their brains to what they are going to learn for that lesson. Therefore, the environment has to provide them the opportunity to think, provide the opportunity for them to chit chat and converse with one another, to help one another out. That's the social constructivist part, so that the development, okay, of the students actually happens. Yeah. In contrast, let's say if we don't allow them to think, make connections during lessons, and converse with one another to help one another learn, right? And they are just supposed to copy down the answers on the whiteboard, on projector screen, and then just follow whatever the teachers say. I don't think the students are able to grow into better people than who they were. Yeah. So I think your philosophy is really, really very good because you help students to become more self-directed, more independent, and it will serve them well in the future to fend for themselves. Yeah. And also good for society because if if they are comfortable with communicating, they have good communication skills, right? Then our social compact will be better also. Yeah. Yeah, so thank you so much. Yep. But let's move on to the next thing that we would like to talk about. I think it's also something that is close to my heart because in order for our students to learn, right, I think there has to be some sort of assessment. So I just want to pick your brains also on what are your thoughts about assessment and whether do you think it is of help to support our students to learn?
Yes, definitely. But I think assessment comes in like many different forms. Not necessarily one that meets academic requirements or learning objectives. So I would like to go in depth into like my subject area.
Sure.
So for literature, for example, even though we have very specific lesson objectives to meet and they're very technical, like they need to like maybe know a few literary devices, or they need to be able to approach a text a certain way. A lot of the times, even from my upper classes, I also look at their shift in perspective. So when they are looking at a text, we are often looking at characters. They are far different from the lives that the boys are living. So boys often find it difficult to relate to these characters, and oftentimes they will, whenever I ask them, okay, who do you relate to the most, they will usually pick the character that is the closest to their own person, their own personality, and their own lives that they're living. So when so sometimes my assessment for their learning would be to see if that by the end of that lesson they are able to empathize with a character that is far different from the life that they are living, or if they're able to empathize or maybe even justify some actions that the opposing character takes on, or how the opposing character reacts to the character that they relate to the most. So I think the shift in perspective, or the shift in being able to empathize with a character that's far different from them, is will be an indicator that they have the ability to maybe weigh the way how characters think, and I think that is also a reflection of them thinking about what they believe is has a positive impact on the world, or what their own. It also talks about their own decision making, their own ability to critically think about a problem and an issue, and think about why different characters might make different decisions based on their own circumstances, their own lives, and all that. So apart from me really assessing them for their literary abilities and the abilities to write, for example, write and speak, or those are all things that we assess them for the exam. But I also look out for the shift in perspective, the ability to empathize, the ability to convince their classmates of their opinions. So those are all things that I would say more of an interpersonal skill, or more of a soft skill. And then as teachers, we then facilitate the integration of the soft skill with like the concrete lesson learning and their ability to grasp the subject. But that, I think, is secondary. And the primary concern for me would be that shift first in themselves, and the ability for them to influence their friends to maybe adopt the same perspective, or just widen their friends' perspective. And then from there, we can move on to the real assessment towards like my formative or summative assessments, the written form or the traditional form.
Yeah, thank you. Interesting perspective, because I would also like to share with you a little bit on what I sometimes do for my PE lessons also. Let's say for example, they are supposed to learn a particular sports concept or sports skills. That falls within the lesson outcomes or the lesson objectives of the lesson, and that is supposed to be what we are supposed to formally what we are supposed to do formative assessment on them on, right? But I also inform my students that the lesson intention for the day is that they need to think critically and also to collaborate, positively with one another, and that I say to them, is the lesson within the lesson, and I want to focus on them, being able to think critically, and also be collaborative. And sometimes when I notice when I actually get them to focus on these soft skills or these competencies which they are supposed to develop as a human being, right? The physical activity that they are supposed to learn comes very naturally. Yeah. So, sometimes at the end of the lesson, I will tell my students also that what you have learned is the lesson within the lesson itself. If you are able to grasp the lesson within the lesson, the lesson objectives which you guys and teacher is formatively assessing you comes very naturally already. Yeah. But if you can't even collaborate with one another, you're not even thinking properly. Yeah, you are not ready to even learn what is supposed to be in the syllabus. Yeah. So I hear that you want to get them to focus on how they think critically also, and take perspectives so that they can develop empathy. You spend a little bit on time to develop these competencies, and I think only after that, once they are settled down in how they behave, all right, with these competencies exhibited, the formative assessments come in naturally for them and also for you lah. Yeah, I know it's counterintuitive, but based on my experience, I think it works also. Yeah. Yeah, but it requires a little bit of patience and a little bit more intentionality to plan out certain situations for them to critically think about things and empathize about things also. Yeah. So thank you for your sharing, and it just happens to also link up well with my assessment philosophy as well. Yeah. Okay, we have mentioned quite a few things. I think we can wrap up our sharing or conversation today, lah. And in all my episodes, I do ask my guests to share a nugget of wisdom or an advice to our audience. But since we are, mentioning about your completion of the instructional mentoring program, would you happen to have an advice to share to beginning teachers who just got posted to their schools or are already posted to their schools on how they can best or better adapt, to their new environment?
Usually I would say that to embrace every challenge as an opportunity to learn. So when we begin with this, a lot of things might feel overwhelming or feel like obstacles, but we look at them as like hurdles that we need to cross and take the opportunity to learn from them. I think that's like the fastest way to grow and the most effective and sustainable way to grow as well. So if we have that perspective that every challenge is placed for us to learn from it, I think it's also an attitude that we should be sharing with our students, and we should be role models in also fully living out to that. Other than that, I also want to tell new teachers to dare to try things that they are afraid to do. So sometimes we believe that, or sometimes we put blocks to our own strengths, or we believe that this is the limit that this is a limit that we have as teachers. But from my IMP session with Mr. Ben, both of us have very different personalities, and what I've learned is that if I continue to just believe that my potential is so much and I only can do so much because this is my personality, I am not an extrovert, or I'm not as loud, and my personality is not so lively as other teachers, then and not willing to maybe try something new, then I would not know whether that would be suitable for my students as well. So I think for new teachers, dare to try something that's different, even if that makes you uncomfortable. Just trying everything once to see if it works for you is a good approach that I would encourage everyone to take.
You don't seem like someone who is, very introverted or shy. You speak so well. Do you know that when I first started off teaching, I think I'm also an introvert. So I can't even string proper sentences together because I always stammer. And I think the reason is because I'm afraid that my students would judge me because my English language is not good. But your advice is really very helpful because number one, you believe that every challenge should be seen as an opportunity, because this is the fastest and the most effective way for you to grow as a professional. And on top of that, right, the benefit for our students is that when they see the teacher being very resilient, we are role modeling the idea of being resilient to our students as well. So that's the knock-on effect, for our students also. Second, you shared that we need to be brave, to try and make mistakes, because mistakes is the mother of all successes. And if we don't make mistakes, we will not be able to have any chance, to find out, what were the things that we need to improve on. So what's the point of getting right answers every time, by following the playbook? You will not be able to learn how to critically think for yourself and adapt to changing situations. So if you go to a new school or a new batch of students come with different, profile, and if you don't have let's say if you don't have a new playbook, how are you going to adapt and develop the new group of students? So your two advices for our audience, especially for beginning teachers, I think are very good because they are very sound. See every challenge as an opportunity. Be brave to try, because mistakes is the mother of all successes. I think that's the end of today's episode, and we really like to thank Ms. Kalyani for her generous sharing and interesting stories that she has mentioned to me. And if you like today's episode, please give a like, share, and subscribe so that more teachers can benefit from the content. So till the next episode, see you. Bye bye.